okay. That's the most applause I've heard since Chris Wallace left. Happy Wednesday, everyone. So according to a report, the federal government has forked over $4.6 billion for new furniture since October of 2020. Amazing. Mostly because one man keeps breaking his chair. But it is nuts. It is nuts. Uber released its annual list of the most unique items left in the back seat. And in first place was a fake head with human hair. I think we have a picture of this. No, I think that's a real head with fake hair. So AOC is being called out for flying first class to speak at a Bernie Sanders Fight Oligarchy rally. I know. We haven't seen this kind of hypocrisy since R. Kelly told me not to pee on the toilet seat. Because he peed on people. Financial experts predict that Trump's tariffs may increase the cost of Botox. So are its regular users concerned? More important, how could you tell? Pop star Ed Sheeran joined Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon for a music performance in a New York City subway. It's the first time commuters threw themselves in front of oncoming trains. KFC is now offering a fried chicken-flavored toothpaste. Yeah, it goes great with my gravy-scented deodorant, said one man.
Chris Christie is so happy you found him.
Yep. Scientists have created a gum that traps the herpes virus. But doctors say the hard part will be getting the gum out of the pubic hair. That is either the worst joke I've ever said or the greatest joke. According to a new study, having a pet boosts well-being as much as having a spouse. It's true, and you can bury both in the backyard. Supporters of Dolly Parton have signed a petition to rename the Nashville airport the Parton from Parton. Yeah, every flight will be out of gate triple D. Finally, a California woman is using the world's longest tongue to play Jenga. Guess who just became a big fan of Jenga?
One time.
So, what's the primary mechanism of political survival for most politicians? Kicking the can down the road. They know never to deal with a problem when it arises because action always involves risk. So instead, they offer platitudes instead of solutions, hoping the status quo gets them reelected, and until it's time, of course, to cash in and become a lobbyist. But today we have a leader who's kicking nothing down the road. Instead, Donald Trump sees the can, picks it up, and crushes it with his bare hands. Think about it. Doge, trade, deporting gangs, men and women's sports, getting Rosie O'Donnell on a plane to Ireland. I know. He's tackled all those issues head on in just 90 days. Previously, a typical Democrat or Republican would have looked at the deficit, trade, and immigration as unsolvable problems, simply because solving them would cause a problem for them. But Trump, he never saw a problem he didn't want to fix. And now you can add drug cartels to his list of cans he wants to crush. First, he labeled them foreign terrorist organizations, and now, according to NBC News, the administration is considering taking out those cartels with drone strikes. Yeah. Drones on cartels. It's a modern solution to a modern problem, like using a robot to feed live mice to The View. And your hands are safe. But bombing cartels? I wonder where they might have gotten that idea. It's time to take out cartels in Mexico. Bomb the out of them. It'll be over in minutes. And if the operation starts up somewhere else, you bomb that too. Mowing down cartels would be no different than mowing the lawn. Yeah. And I know how to mow a lawn now that Jose's been deported. R.I.P., Jose. Taking care of your kids. But that was 3 years ago, when the only droning was the sound of Biden's life alert. The difference this time is we got a president who's actually doing something about it. As one senior DEA official under Biden puts it, politics aside, Trump is not around with this stuff. True, while the Dems think misgendering is violence, Trump thinks violence is violence and knows how to deal with it, with military action. After all, these are brutally violent drug dealers with machine guns who don't think twice about beheading anyone who looks at them the wrong way. Fact is, they've killed more Americans than Steve Doocy's cookbook. Droning them makes all the sense in the world. It might seem extreme to some, but that's only because it's viewed in the context of their own cowardice and neglect. These are the same people who waved through the violent illegal criminals and ported them on night flights, gave them hotel rooms paid for by you and me. Hell, they didn't just kick the can down the road. They gave that can 3 meals, free flights, and a hotel room with Wi-Fi. Now, Trump's been floating the idea of drone strikes on cartel leaders for a while. Not because he's bloodthirsty or because he's bored, but because, shocking as this sounds, it might work, which is always Trump's metric. And it beats depending on Mexico. Hell, you'd be safer chugging Tijuana spring water. I mean, their law enforcement's made up of the cartels themselves. Now, you could debate its legality, but look, we send 8-figure checks to Zelensky, never get a receipt, and we're killing people who've done nothing to us thousands of miles away. Apparently that's legal, but killing terrorists at our border isn't. Of course, Mexico's president says bombing cartels won't address the root of the issue. Really? Doesn't wiping out the dudes who sling these drugs address the root issue? If you can't contain El Chapo, then your opinions are El Crappo. Look, we love Mexico. Their food's amazing, and it's still the best place to flee when you've accidentally killed a spouse. But their government, about as reliable as birth control from the dollar store. Their cops are bought off, their mayors are in hiding, their military has all the firepower of a 6-pack of O'Douls. So yeah, Trump is saying what no one else will. If you won't clean up your yard, we'll do it for you because it's growing into ours. And if that means a drone here or there, it's better than letting fentanyl kill tens of thousands of Americans a year. Drones are quick, they're precise, and they're covered by Radio Shack's 90-day warranty. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He traded his license to kill for an AARP card. Former CIA operative and host of the President's Daily Brief podcast, Mike Becker. She can turn the press into a sweaty mess. Republican strategist Aaron McGuire. She talks so fast she leaves auctioneers aghast. Co-host of Outnumbered Emily Cabano. He may be gigantic, but he makes old ladies frantic. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, former NWA World So, Mikey, you are in the intelligence agency, though it's hard to tell when you talk.
It's true. True.
So, the Pentagon has an official saying that this isn't legal. But if you call them terrorists, how is this any different than hitting bin Laden in Pakistan? Isn't it? Doesn't that put them on the same kind of turf?
Yeah, it does. It opens up all sorts of opportunities, right? And by the way, I don't know if you can buy birth control at the dollar store. I've never seen it, but
What you do is you can.
You can?
No, you just.
cannot.
Oh, you cannot. Okay, you're researching right now, aren't you?
It depends.
Yeah, I've been through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends what you define as birth control. Like buying really cheap cereal.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like buying really heavy alcohol. So
Yeah.
can't perform at the end of the night. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We got off. I know we got off topic. This is exactly like the War Games chat group is like. You know, we get on there, and next thing you know, somebody's sending an emoji, and we're all yucking it up. But here, look, as far as the drug cartels and droning and killing the members that are responsible for all this death and destruction. Yeah, I mean, it's about time, right? I mean, and so we should be doing that. And the agency, the CIA, for example, is looking at the legalities. They're trying to, you got to get your ducks in a row, which is not as easy as you would think, because they're ducks. But it's actually probably the next step that we're taking. We're already doing overflights of Mexico with the blessing of the Mexican government to do surveillance and signals intercepts and a variety of other things. So arming those bad boys and taking out some of these leaders. Look, I worked the drug wars, right, when I was in the job. And you could take out warehouses full of gear, and there would be no change in what was happening in the business, right? No change in street price, nothing, because there's so much gear out there. You take out some of those top leaders, right? And then what do? You get them fighting amongst themselves, right? That's a good thing. So I'm all about this. I'm very glad to see them doing this. And to your point, you're right. Once you label them as foreign terrorist organizations, that opens up all sorts of possibilities, including killing them.
Aaron. Is there any argument against this?
I don't think a sound argument against it. I'm sure Democrats will try to put any number of obstacles in the way to say that this is not something that should or could be done. But it's good to see that there will be an actual war on drugs in this country, because those cartels have killed more Americans than ISIS and Al-Qaeda combined. These are terrorists. What they are doing to Americans and American families and neighborhoods with these drugs, with the human trafficking that's going on, the modern day slave labor that's happening, yeah, take them out. Don't apologize for it. And if Democrats want to say it's not legal, to your point, we take out terrorists all over the world. If they're at our doorstep, why would we want them there?
Well, and here's a scary statistic. We've lost more Americans to fentanyl than we lost in wars since World War II.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
So
fentanyl has given drugs a bad name.
No. I think it was Bon Jovi. Yeah. No, that was the love of that.
No, it does. It does. It's like
cocaine's off the hook.
Yeah. But no, you can't even buy cocaine because it has fentanyl in it.
Right.
You can't buy any kind of street drug has some of it in it, and it's like you're playing with your life, Emily.
Yeah,
that's why I told you, quit, baby.
yeah.
Stop.
We're all here for you.
Yes. In fact, this really isn't a show.
We're glad you made it.
We're glad you're here. Anyway, I'm sorry. Oh, what are your thoughts?
That, yes, 250,000 Americans have died from fentanyl. And I love how you put it, because at the end of the day, as we're learning about the billions of dollars that we've been wasting as Americans, I would gladly fork over as much as I have to nail these cartels to finally secure our border. And here's the thing about the Mexican president saying, well, it's not going to address the root causes and everything else. But that's why what President Trump is doing is so brilliant, because he is totally deploying a full constellation of exactly what will. He is stifling out China, who's the one that is producing all the fentanyl going through Mexico.
Yes.
He is finally, through the Attorney General Pam Bondi, is actually prosecuting every type of crime that has to do with drugs. No, oh, it's okay, it's under $1,000. Oh, it's just a kilo. Oh, this. No, you're prosecuted, you're going to jail. Deterrence, consequences at every level and at all around the border and everything. And the fact that when you ask about who is resisting this in any way, we have people crying about they deserve due process and, oh my gosh, the poor cartels. At the end of the day, where was all of that empathy and compassion for the almost 1 million children still lost in this country at the hands of the cartel? Or the historic rapes, sexual assaults, violence, the destruction of communities, all of that is now finally within the plan to exterminate those cartels once and for all with the backing of everything else. I applaud this. I can't wait for Donald Trump to look back and say, I told you so.
It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Iris. No one's going to lose any sleep if you bomb a cartel.
Oh.
Except maybe the cartel.
Yes.
That bomb will wake you up. When President Trump was our guest on this show, I think y'all remember that night? Yeah. I asked him the question. I said, hey, would you consider making drug dealers from other countries and stuff terrorist organizations so the police would have one less thing to do and the military has way more things that they can do without all the red tape? And he was like, yeah, and the death penalty. We're like, well, maybe not the death penalty, but let's blow him up. Because what he did with the Taliban, he walked in there and he took a Polaroid, which no one had seen in years, and slid it on the table of the Taliban and said, that's your house. I'm going to blow that up with you in it if you so much as if one hair on an American soldier is split. And guess what? The Taliban guy got it. Their cartel's going to get it. The problem is, and we keep hearing it, like today I heard, I think maybe 15 times, Trump derangement syndrome. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. It's criminals and people who are taking money at the expense of the American people are upset because he's going to change their way of making money. Now, don't think these cartels don't cut checks.
Yeah.
Don't think there's people that are in the higher ups that are making money to look the other way. You crack a few eggs and, well, it's really the drug addict that's the problem, not the drug, and it's America. So the blowback's not going to be from Mexico. It's going to be up there in D.C. And what we're seeing with the attacks on Doge, we're seeing the criminals. It's not Trump derangement. It's that they've had a comfortable life and they've made a lot of money at the expense of the American people. Mansion building money, to where you have you can be a socialist and have 3 mansions. Digest that.
Yeah.
Their whole way of life is going to change because he's cutting the flow of the money to them. So look at the people in D.C. who start freaking out and trying to find things like, well, the cartel also donates to petting zoos on the weekends, and it's, so just pay attention.
But we shouldn't imagine that it's going to solve the problem. That's the one thing you have to be pragmatic
shut up,
about.
Mike.
No. What I'm saying is,
I gotta go.
No,
You're
what
gonna
I'm saying,
add to
what
the
am I saying
segment.
is, you can't kill your way out of the problem because they're always going to find other options.
I would like
but
to
it doesn't
kill
mean
you out of
shouldn't
the
try.
problem.
But you shouldn't. Yeah, but you should try.
Oh, now you want to talk.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, the media's lame excuse for ignoring old Joe.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.